Yeah. Lord. Yeah. We sell crack to our own out the back of our homes. We smell the musk of the dusk and the crack of the dawn. We go through episodes too, like Attack of the Clones. What till we break a back and you'll hear the crack of the bone. To get by, just to get by, just to get by, just to get by. We can mute the computer, spirits stay mute while your ego spread rumors. We survivalists turn to consumers. Just to get by, just to get by, just to get by, just to get by. You ask me why some people gotta live in the trailer, cause like a sailor I paint a picture with the pen like Norman Mailer. Me and Weller raised 3 daughters all by herself with no help. I think about the struggle and I find the strength in myself. These words melt in my mouth, they hot like the jail cell in the south. Before my nigga Core bailed me out. But to get by, just to get by, just to get by, just to get by. We do or die like best stars, see the red skies, the window of the red eye, let the lead fly. So G-rap shit, living the lead down.
I woke up feeling brand new. I jumped up feeling my high and my low and my soul and my goals. Just to stop smoking and stop drinking. But I've been thinking I got my reasons just to get by, just to get by, just to get by, just to get by. Just to get by, just to get by, just to get by.
Gangsters, save the shizzle for sheezy and stay crunk. It's easy to pull a breezy, smoke trees and we stay drunk. Yo, activism attacking the system. The blacks and Latins in prison, numbers in prison. They victim black in the vision. Shit, and all they got is rapping to listen to. I let them know we missing you. The love is unconditional, even when the condition is critical. When the living is miserable, your position is pivotal. I ain't bullshitting you now. Why would I lie? Just to get by, just to get by, to get fly. The TV got us reaching for stars, not the ones between Venus and Mars. Who want to be reading reports. So people get breast enhancements and penis enlarger. Saturday, Sunday, Sunday morning at the feet of the Father. They need something to rely on. We get high on all types of drugs when all you really need is love. To get by, just to get by, just to get by, just to get by. My pen sing like John Lennon. Imagine all the people watch me rock like Paul McCartney from now until the last Beatles drop.
This morning I woke up feeling brand new and I jumped up feeling my high and my low and my soul and my goals. Just to stop smoking and stop drinking. Lately I'm thinking I got my reasons just to get by, just to get by, just to get by, just to get by.
Yo. Some people cry and some people try just to get by for a piece of the pie. We love to eat and get high. We deceive and we lie, and we keep in the block. When the people decide, keep up the skies. You can't see the eyes, see the evil inside. The best people you find, strong or feeble in mind. I stay reading the signs. Yo. Some people try just to get by for a piece of the pie. We love to eat and get high. We deceive and we lie, and we keep in the block. Yo. When people decide, keep up the skies. You can't see the eyes, see the evil inside. The best people you find, strong and feeble in mind. I stay reading the sign.
Severe weather in northwest Arkansas today. Heavy thunderstorms, rain, thunder, and lightning forcing the cancellation of the annual red and white spring game. We will have 2 hours of practice, though, coming up. Brett Bielema and his staff and his players have come indoors to get out of the elements and prepare to get set for the 2017 season. Hello, everybody. I'm Chris Cotter alongside Clint Sterner. And when you talk about this practice, okay, no game, but it's still very important because they only have 15 practices in the spring, so they got to get some work done today.
Absolutely. After finishing through some adversity at the end of last season, these 15 practices were very important. Head coach Brett Bielema's message to his team was be consistent. I was at practice Thursday. It was an upbeat practice. The leaders were leading and balls were flying. It was a great practice. Today, it's about finishing. They've been consistent for 14, finished through 15 today. It's going to be action-packed, so stay dialed in, but it's going to be fun.
Yeah, no game as we mentioned, but we will have 2 hours of practice coming up, and it's really broken out into 24 5-minute segments. So to your point, there's going to be a lot of action, and they're going to be moving.
Absolutely. Moving, action. There's going to be a lot of individual work with each position. There's going to be some small group work with each position, and then there's obviously going to be a lot of team today. That team is going to be situational. We'll try to keep you upbeat, but it's going to be rapid fire like we mentioned. So stay tuned in, stay dialed in, and we'll try to keep you up to date.
Yeah, and Clint, you're going to be out there on the field talking to some of these players and coaches as well. Chris Budden, the third member of our crew, is going to join us in a little bit. They start with session number 1 here, and that's the rapid-fire field goals, and this just kind of gets the team going, gets them fired up as they make the field goals, miss the field goals, a little bit of razzing here and there as they get set to go.
Absolutely. Come out of the chutes with the kickers under a little bit of pressure with the team wrapped around them, a little bit of noise. So it's a double-edged sword here. Can they perform under pressure, and can they kick the practice off right?
As we mentioned, 24 sessions of 5 minutes each. We're going to go right up till 2 o'clock Central Time, and Cole Headland, veteran kicker, putting his right toe to it. Obviously, when you look at a new season in 2017 coming up, you know you're going to play in some close games as they did last year. Got to have a kicker that can make some kicks.
Absolutely. A lot of games in the SEC, just in a game of football alone, come down to that kicker at the end. You would like to go into the season next year knowing that you've got a kicker that can make the field goal under pressure and on time.
A lot of individual drills here early in this 2-hour session. As you said, Clint, a little bit earlier, we're going to get into some more 11-on-11 stuff a little bit later, so you'll get to see 1s versus 2s, 2s versus 1s. Now we move on to the second segment, though, and this is the hog drill. What's going on here?
Absolutely.
Arkansas Razorbacks coming off a mixed bag, really, in 2016. Off to a great start. 3-0 to begin the year, and things were looking positive for Brett Bielema and company, and then some good wins along the way. I mean, when you talk about beating a Florida team, you talk about beating an Ole Miss team, but then the way the season ended, really in disappointing fashion, falling at Missouri after blowing a big halftime lead at the end of the regular season, and then doing the same exact thing against Virginia Tech in the Belk Bowl. Raleigh Williams was outstanding running the football as you would expect in a Brett Bielema offense, but so is this kid right here, Austin Allen, the quarterback. He comes back to lead this team.
You know, here's what's unique about Austin is the kid could very easily go into a meeting and he could talk about being first in the SEC in passing yards with 3,400 roughly, second in the SEC in passing touchdowns with 25. But at the end of the day, he wants to talk about he held the ball too long and gave up too many sacks. Some of that's on the quarterback. And that number you see that's grade right there, 15 interceptions, way too many for any team, whether you're having to come from behind, you're having to throw the ball more than you want to, you have to protect the football.
Chris Budden standing by right now with Coach. Chris?
I am Coach Bielema. Thanks so much for joining us. This isn't really the way you wanted to cap off your spring session, but you move it indoors and have more of a practice setting. What are you hoping to get out of today?
Well, first, I'm thankful we have this type of building. You know, been at some place where we didn't have any close to a 100-yard field, so this is absolutely awesome for days like this. We got a 24-period practice, so a 2-hour good work day. Right now we have all the guys in white, our offensive guys are going through what we call individual, where they're working on specific things. We got our wide receivers working on what I'm going to do. The pretty boys in gray, those are the quarterbacks, so no one touches them. We got a couple other guys in gray. That means they can't have contact. Got a couple guys with shoulder surgeries issues, so those are all there. And then down in the far end, the guys in red, those are all our defensive players.
We'll go through some of the drills individually here in a second, but I want to talk with you maybe big picture. When you started spring practice to where you are 15 practices later, where are you in terms of where you wanted to be?
Well, we ask our guys every day to improve, and I think through 15 practices, 13 of those have been really good. We had one day where we kind of took a step backwards, but we've had good leadership. The way our season ended, kind of a little bad taste in our mouth. The guys have been very coachable, been very, very hungry. Coaches have done a nice job with them as well.
On offense, you return Austin Allen, but you lose a lot of the guys that he threw to. So who has stood out for you in the wide receivers so far?
Jared Cornelius really was having a good spring. Unfortunately, tweaked his hammy a little bit, but some guys, Deion Stewart, Michael Petway, both have had as good a football as they've played since being here. We have some new additions, Brandon Martin and Jonathan Nance. 2 junior college players that come in and do some nice things. TJ Hammonds we moved, so we're moving the ball around a little bit to different people, but they're doing a good job.
On the defensive side, we'll talk a lot about it today, but you moved from the 4-3 to the 3-4. At what point last season did you start to think that this was a change that you wanted to make?
You know, about midway through our bye week, kind of just looking at our personnel, looking the way the game had evolved, hurry-up offense, and the way everybody's playing in the SEC now in particular, we thought it gave us a better chance to deploy our troops against their guys a little bit better and a little bit more efficiently.
Well, since we have you here, let's go through some of the drills. We're kind of moving from one period to the next period, so let's let them get lined up. But what are we going to see here out of these next individual drills?
Well, this is a time where they really use their time to basically work on the skills that they have on every play. So running backs might work a certain block, they may work a certain technique. Pass pro, offensive line is always doing something, combination drills with other O-linemen. A lot of times here will be a little bit of a timing pattern that'll happen with our quarterbacks, wide receivers, and tight ends. They're really working individually on the drills that make them a better player.
This specific one that we see over here in the right corner end zone, what are they specifically technique working on?
That's running backs, and actually he's going over agiles there, so they're working footwork with ball security. One of the things you'll hear our coaches constantly preach, we'll do a drill later on today where they really emphasize keeping the ball in a high and tight position. We told them to keep it close to their heart, and it's a little bit of a description where they keep pressure on their ball and on the forearm, up tight to their chest to maximize ball security.
In terms of the quarterbacks, we see them going with the wideouts.
Yeah.
What are they working on in this drill?
This looks like we're working on a pattern where both receivers are breaking out. Again, ball locations here. Anytime a receiver is moving towards the sideline, you assume the defender is probably going to be inside of them. So the more we leave the ball out in front where they can turn and accelerate down the sideline, we don't want them to break stride. We want them to hit rhythm. We want the ball to be high and tight. Once they secure the catch, then they want to tuck it and get in that ball security position and maintain possession as well.
For those that have never gone through a spring practice before, or really any kind of football practice, how do you come up with the order of the drills? Because we started with some field goals, the hog drill, the individuals will move to some team, but it really kind of moves around a lot.
It did. We always, as a head coach, I've always kind of started with, I want to put an emphasis in a kick game. So we started off with those field goals, did rapid fire, 4 from the right, 4 from the left. Actually, both our kickers hit a 53 and 55 yarder, so it was a good day. We called it a perfect day, and everybody kind of got excited. Then we went into what we call a hog drill, where we kind of just have our big guys hit each other as hard as they can on the goal line and try to do a little man-to-man toughness drill, work on their acceleration, hand placement. It's a real quick whistle where I'm in charge, and then really just kind of progress through individual. And then the first team period we're going to do is what we call inside or a run period, where we'll be down here and we're just running the football. We got to be able to run the football offensively. We have to stop the run on defense, and really an emphasis on that on the front of practice because we want it to be the best period.
Well, I'm going to find Clint's around here somewhere. As you call them, the pretty boys, I'm going to assume he's somewhere around the pretty boys watching him throw. Clint, what are you watching?
Guys, I'm over here really right down about 10 yards from you and Coach. I'm watching the receivers and the quarterbacks doing individual drill. Again, it seems like a very simple drill. It's just throwing the ball on there. It's pitch and catch. But timing in this league is so important. The windows are small. The DBs close the cushion awfully quick, so you have to be extremely precise. Location, location, location. And nobody better in the business than Dan Enos at coaching quarterbacks, coaching specific, coaching details of how to be successful at this position. He's had a couple of the highest rated quarterbacks in the country over the years, and this is exactly why. It's this work that this team's putting in right now, that this group is putting in right now, that makes them special. One thing that Austin Allen has to work on moving forward is getting the ball out of his hands. He felt like last year that he held onto the ball a little bit too long at times, again, causing those sacks, causing those interceptions, causing the hit fumbles. So at this point in time, in order to avoid putting the team in bad situations, Austin's in particularly working on getting the ball out of his hands, the short, quick routes, and again, being accurate with those routes.
Hey, Clint, we see Coach Enos right there. One of the things he talked about yesterday when we had our meetings with the coaches was the fact that Austin's got to work with this whole new group of receivers. I mean, Cornelius is the only one he's got back, so he's got a whole new group of guys, and they may not be helping him out all that much this spring because they've got to work on their games as well. They're going to have to spend a lot of time together here in passing drills that aren't practice related here in the spring and then going into the summer.
Absolutely. You hit the nail on the head there. It's hard to develop as a quarterback and work on what you need to work on as a quarterback when you're constantly having to help receivers, new receivers, line up in the right place. You're at the top of the numbers, you're at the bottom of the numbers. What's the depth of your route? Those are things that Austin Allen welcomes, but it's difficult to really work on your game. So there's no doubt about it that his maturity and his development is probably slowed significantly, having to work with 4, 5, and 6 new receivers with Jared Cornelius being out. But look, as a quarterback, that's the kind of thing you got to do. You got to be able to handle those types of situations. If you can't handle that type of situation, you definitely can't handle Alabama and LSU and Ole Miss in the fourth quarter. So while it's a tough task, there's no doubt about it. He welcomes it, he embraces it, and he's stepping up to the challenge so far in the spring.
Well, we saw Brandon Martin, number 5, Jonathan Nance, 2 JUCO transfers coming in. That certainly they hope to see a lot of. LaMichael Petway, you heard Coach talk glowingly about his break this spring or his work this spring, and So the receivers getting their work. And when we come back, Jared Cornelius is going to join us, or as his teammates refer to him, DJ J-Red will be with us here at Arkansas Spring Practice when we come back. Of the Allen brothers, it's Austin Allen this time around, following in the footsteps of his older brother Brandon, who's now with the Jacksonville Jaguars. And he really had a very efficient year last year, despite the 15 interceptions, and as you mentioned at the top of the show, sacked far too often, 34 times. But you take the good with the bad.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, here's the deal. Playing quarterback at the University of Arkansas is a tough task. You've got to be aggressive at times. You've got to make big-time throws at times in order to get your team over the hump to win football games in this conference. So he's got to be aggressive. The question is, can he straddle that fence of being too aggressive and putting his team in bad situations? There's no doubt about it. Look at the stats. Look at the numbers. The kid can play the position. He's leading the football team. He's special behind center. He's just got to mature over the offseason.
And I am joined with Austin Allen's father, Bobby Allen, who is on staff here at Arkansas. He is the Director of High School Relations and also Pro Liaison. Thanks so much for joining us. Before we talk about your role, I want to talk about Austin. Where have you seen the biggest growth from him in his first year starting to this year?
I think just watching him this spring is maturity, just him feeling comfortable with the offense, him understanding more situational football, where he really got in trouble last year. He tried to maybe force some things when he didn't have to. He's really tried to do a much better job with ball security, not trying to force the ball if he doesn't have to. With you on the staff here, does that mean that there's more conversations about football at the dinner table? Well, I would say that we do have a chance to talk after practice every day. You also have another son, Brandon, who played here as well as the starting quarterback. When they were younger, when did you start to realize that you had two boys that could play in the SEC? I didn't realize it really until they got an offer. Brandon had a game in junior high when he was in 9th grade that, you kind of walked away and said, wow, he kind of flashed at you. He really did some things that you kind of turned your head and said, man, he's got a chance to be I don't know about SEC, but maybe play at the next level. Then Austin's junior year, as they got closer to the playoffs, I think he got more comfortable in the offense, and he started to just kind of let it go, and he started to play better and started to make some throws that you'd say, if he can continue to grow, he might have a chance to play as well. The two also worked out this summer together. When you watch them play, what are the similarities and the differences in their styles? I think the similarities is that they both have worked hard on a quick handbrake, having a quick release. I think Brandon has always used his feet a little bit more and would be more of a runner, where Austin has kind of moved around in the pocket and would stay in there and wait for something to come open late. I want to ask you one last thing. I'm going to put you on the spot because it is the NFL draft week, and one of your jobs is working directly with the scouts. If you were to give a scout of your son with the draft next year, what would you put on there? That's too hard to answer. I mean, I just hope that, he can go out and play his best football and put himself in a position where his film, that whoever is looking for a quarterback would look for someone like him and want to take a chance on him. Well, I appreciate the time we got to talk to Austin yesterday. You've raised some great kids, so thanks for spending some time with us. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you, Chris and Bobby. We appreciate that. And a little bit of an injury here on the field. Still waiting to get a look at the number who this player might be, but this is the worst nightmare of any coach in spring practice. You're wrapping up 15 great practices, looking forward to having a little bit of off time and downtime where players won't get hurt, and now we've got an injury.
Yeah, it looks like it's an injury, an inside drill. There's a lot of downhill running, a lot of contact, and it's part of football, unfortunately.
We certainly hope this is not serious, although the staff here taking all precautions and making sure that the player is immobilized, just not taking any chances. And so while we're here at Fayetteville, again, just a reminder to everybody, we have inclement weather outside, really bad storms. Even last night in the state of Arkansas, we had some tornadoes move through. So certainly the folks here in not only northwest Arkansas, but also in the entire state and the entire region. You can even see in the far left, we got some snow. I mean, I know it was snowing in Colorado yesterday, some really bad weather here in the Midwest. We hope everybody takes care and pays attention to what's happening with these severe thunderstorms. And if there is a tornado, to take certain precaution. But that's why we're taking precautions as well, coming inside here in the indoor facility, getting this final practice number 15 for the Razorbacks here in the spring under their belts, and not being able to risk being out in the elements with the Thunder and the Lightning outdoors with the red and white spring game. But still a lot of work to be done, and work getting done by Coach Bielema and his staff. We've got an injured Razorback on the field. We're going to update you on the status when we come back. And welcome back to Arkansas spring practice. You can see the Razorbacks now on the field here at the indoor facility. The red and white game canceled because of inclement weather. We've moved inside for practice, and one of the leaders on this team, junior tailback Raleigh Williams, was injured while they were doing some inside running drills. You can see he's moving his hands and arms, so that's the good news. And, of course, as we all know, we've seen this a number of times, the staff here, the medical staff here on site, they're trained in this sort of thing. This isn't anything new to them, Clint. They know how to take care of an injury like this, to immobilize Raleigh, just to take all the precautions. And he's obviously going to be put on stretcher and be sent to a local hospital just to be checked out. Here's the hit here, Clint.
Yeah, well, you know, it's that hit and twist, and he's got a history of injury. He had a very severe injury that they thought could possibly be career-ending. A year and a half or so ago, he bounced back with that 1,300-yard season. He's really confident as a player. But right now, I got to imagine that they're going to take every precautionary reason they can to take care of him, get him to the hospital, make sure everything's okay, and move forward.
And his family is here. That's one of the things with moving this practice inside. It isn't open to the fan base in general, but family and friends of the players are here inside, and you could see a good number of folks have come out here, and it looked like Raleigh's family was here, at least in part, to watch him, and they're over with him right now as they move him onto the stretcher. We saw the entire team in prayer at the 50-yard line here at the indoor facility when we came back from break. What does this do now for a team that was all hyped for this practice, his final 15th practice here of spring, and now you have one of your leaders now injured?
Well, it's definitely tough to jump right back into things, especially any kind of contact drill at this point in time. So we'll see what Coach decides to do, but definitely a close-knit group. Coach Enos, it's one advantage of having a former head coach, college head coach, one of a couple that are on the squad. Dan Enos ran down, gathered the troops, said a couple of quick prayers. It looks like Coach Bielema is going to do the same with the crew. Raleigh Williams is a very important part of this team on the field, but I'd argue that he's even more important off the field. And he's just, what he's been through, his ability to bounce back. I tell you, he's a special young man, and I hope he comes out of this thing okay.
We're in period 8 of 24 here in Fayetteville. Raleigh Williams taken off the field, the junior from Dallas. We will update you as best as we can when we get additional information on his injury. We'll be right back, though, to Fayetteville. Chris Cotter, Clint Sterner, Chris Budden here in Fayetteville. Raleigh Williams, the running back, who ran for over 1,300 yards last year for Arkansas, injured on one of these drills, being taken off right now to a local hospital. The EMS crew obviously taking every single precaution, as you might expect. And as we get further information, welcome back to Fayetteville. We're at intermission here at the Arkansas spring practice, and Brett Bielema had a great recruiting class this past signing period. 27 signees, 3 of them in the ESPN 300. 5th straight year Arkansas has had 3 in the ESPN 300. We ranked it the 26th national class. Here's ESPN College Football National Recruiting Coordinator Craig Hobart with more.
With several early enrollees on campus, let's take a deeper look at Arkansas's 2017 class and some names to know amongst the summer arrivals. I mentioned for the first time in several classes their top defensive signee was not a defensive lineman. Well, that honor this year goes to a defensive back, Chevin Callaway, a big National Signing Day pickup out of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. He is a player who's not going to necessarily wow you athletically, but he's got outstanding length, and he's a player who really maximizes his ability. Very savvy, instinctive player, also very physical in run support. The type of player, even though he'll be a summer arrival, I could certainly see him competing and working his way into the mix and down the road, developing into a very steady, solid starting cornerback for that Arkansas team. A player outside the top 100 of the ESPN 300 to keep an eye on is Monteric Brown. This is a top 12 safety, an in-state pickup. Much like Callaway, a player who really maximizes his ability. He's got quick feet, athletic. He's got to add size, but he has the frame to develop. Player who's really all over the field. I can see Brown coming in and very quickly being a special teams ace for this Arkansas team. A big-time in-state pickup here for Arkansas in Monteric Brown. Moving down, looking at a player who can add some key depth. and that is Coylin Jackson. Arkansas lost their top 2 receivers from 2016, and with them went over 100 catches and 10 touchdowns. They signed several receivers, but athlete Coylin Jackson, the son of former Oklahoma and NFL tight end great Keith Jackson, is a player to watch as I think he can work his way into the mix. He was a Wildcat quarterback. He's got a big frame, an explosive athlete, while projected to play wide receiver because of that experience at quarterback and his size. He could bring a lot of versatility to that Arkansas offense as he begins to develop. And a hidden gem in this class to watch is Chase Hayden out of Tennessee. Arkansas has built a reputation for having great running backs, and they've got a good stable on campus right now. But Chase Hayden is certainly someone to watch. He is a tremendous, outstanding athlete, very quick feet, a good receiver out of the backfield. He's a player that I wouldn't be surprised with even who they have on campus if he doesn't work his way into the mix and down the road can give them another outstanding, productive running back. These are some of the names to know as more prospects reach campus this summer.
Quite a big class, 27 athletes signing on, and you can see right here just some of the number of athletes in their position ranks as far as the players coming in. Brandon Martin, we mentioned here already. Jonathan Nance, part of that JUCO class of receivers. Monteric Brown, you heard about that name as well. Malik Williams is here.
If you catch me at the border, I got visas in my name. If you come around here, I'll make them all day. I get one down in a second if you wait. I fly like paper, get high like planes. If you catch me at the border, I got visas in my name. If you come around here, I'll make them all day. I get one down in a second if you wait. Sometimes I think sitting on trains. Every step I get to, I'm clocking that game. Everyone's a winner, we're making our fame. Bonafide hustler, making my name. Sometimes I think sitting on trains. Every step I get to, I'm clocking that game. Everyone's a winner, we're making our fame. Bonafide hustler, making my name. All I wanna do is take your money. 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 Pirates, skulls and bones, sticks and stones and weed and bombs. Running when we hit 'em, lethal poison for the system. Pirates, skulls and bones, sticks and stones and weed and bombs. Running when we hit 'em, lethal poison for the system. No one on the corner has swagger like us. Hit me on my banner, prepaid wireless. We pack and deliver like UPS trucks. Already going hell, just pumping that gas. No one on the corner has swagger like us. Hit me on my banner, prepaid wireless. We pack and deliver like UPS trucks. Already going hell, just pumping that gas. All I wanna do is take your money. 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 MIA, third world democracy. Yeah, I got more records than the KGB. So, no funny business. You already are.
Okay, our first coach From the University of Arkansas, Brett Bielema, going into his 5th-year career coaching record of 93 wins and 50 losses, has taken Arkansas to 3 consecutive bowl games, top 20 ranking each of the last 2 seasons, and 3 days ago became a dad. Most importantly, I had arrived home Saturday. I had texted congratulations to Brett. All of a sudden, my phone said he was FaceTiming me. That's never happened. I've never FaceTimed with a head football coach in the SEC. And so you have that decision, should you answer or not. I decided to answer the phone. And he said, "Why are you calling me?" I said, "Why are you calling me?" I thought he was going to share this moment like with his wife and his daughter with the conference commissioner. And he said, "Well, I'm just leaving Chipotle. There was a mistake. I didn't mean to call you." Brett Bielema.
That's an introduction like no other, right there from the commission. It was kind of funny because I had received a lot of different phone calls, texts during the course of the day from some of my SEC brethren, some of the head coaches and different people from the SEC office. And I did get the text from commission. I'm like, wow, that's kind of nice. I didn't respond to everybody, so don't take it personal if I haven't responded to you yet. I had about 500 messages, but I did text him, and I'm like, that's pretty cool. And I was kind of thinking to myself, and I was walking out of, my wife wanted some double veggie bowl from Chipotle, trying to get an endorsement right there. And I was walking out and I recognized the FaceTime down. I'm like, pulled it out and I see Greg Sankey's name, and I'm like, wow, this is pretty cool. The commission's FaceTiming me. That's pretty unique. And he goes, "Why are you calling me?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I must have butt dialed you. I apologize." So that was a unique experience. I appreciate. But excited to get here. Excited to bring the 3 guys with me. I know you guys follow our program, but the 3 guys here that are representing us today are very, very special, unique to me, because now going into my 5th year as a head coach, these guys are all guys that I had recruited or decided to make a scholarship offer to, and 2 of the 3, one was a former walk-on. Frank Ragnow is by far one of the most talented players I've ever coached, both on and off the field. Tremendous person. Excited to see him come back and return for his senior season. Austin Allen will stand in front of you as a guy that's going to have an SEC graduate patch, a pin on his lapel that we're very proud of. He's actually graduated already, started master's classes. We'll get about 2/3 of the way through his master's before he ever is finished playing college football for us. A very, very talented player that's going into year 2 as our starter. And then Kevin Richardson is a former walk-on that, again, just really embodies everything I believe in. He was a little undersized, under-recruited, underdeveloped. Coming out of high school, we presented him an opportunity to walk on. Really, in the first 2 weeks, I knew we had something. Probably one of the most intelligent football IQ players I've ever been around. Plays all 5 DB positions and is a great leader off the field. Just really blessed to have those guys with us. I feel really good about where we're at. Obviously, the end of last season was a unique situation for me. And in fact, even when we went 3-9, which I've never had a losing season in my career, other than that first year at Arkansas, I felt at the end of the year we were getting better and moving in the right direction. And last year, our last 2 games were not highlights. They were, especially the way they both ended. So I knew we had to take some new looks at things. So we took an internal look at us coaching-wise, what we were asking them to do, how we were asking them to do it. Took an even stronger look at our personnel, which made us drive the decision to change to a 3-4. And then bottom line, what we were going to do moving forward in January. And our kids have been great. They've owned and embraced what we didn't do well at the end of the year. Focused on what we can do well. We're going to focus on winning games in the second half, not losing them. Putting our best personnel on the field, no matter how that comes about. And then really trying to play and understand what it means to be at Arkansas and have that come through. I've had a lot of former players, players that were before my time, as well players that have been there with us that have had success come in and talk to our guys about what it means to be a Razorback. I think that's been a huge, huge thing. So very excited where we're at and where we're continuing to go. We start camp a little bit earlier than everybody else because we play a Thursday night game in Little Rock, which should be a really neat experience for us. It gives us an extra day of preparation as we go into an opportunity to play TCU, another crossover game in our league. That should be a lot of fun. We have a bye week before we go play A&M in Jerry's World over in Cowboy Stadium, and then the rest of our schedule lays out in a pretty good, favorable fashion. Last year, I think we had 2 or 3 teams that had bye weeks before they play us. Nobody has a bye week before they play us this year, which I think is a nice stroke for us in the right regards in scheduling. So with that, open it up for some questions.
All right, thank you, Coach. If you have a question, please raise your hand. Again, please give your name and affiliation. Please stand. We'll start here in the center aisle to our right, Coach.
Hey, Coach. Todd Palmer with the Kansas City Star. Obviously, you guys had a bit of a tough end to last season. I was wondering whether the Missouri loss in particular lingered at all for the guys in the offseason, provided some motivation. And do you think games like that, obviously not the outcome you want, but do they help stoke that rivalry a little bit?
Well, I think the Missouri rivalry, both Barry and I have said, and then even going back with Coach Pinkel, anything we can do to flame that fire is a good thing for everybody. I've even had some conversations with our high school all-star game, maybe being a crossover game to play a high school team from Missouri, you know. So that's kind of building on its own. It's hard to create a bunch of history overnight, but that's happening. If losing in the second half helps stoke that fire, God bless them. I'm all for it, but we didn't do it for that reason, obviously. But I think that the way that not only the Missouri game, but the second half of Virginia Tech, we played really well in those first halves. We played extremely well and didn't play well in the second half. To examine that, why it happened, we had to look internally first as coaches, and then carry it over a little bit with discussion with our players. I think they had some great input and some ideas as well, and just kind of move forward from there. But I'm excited. I think the SEC and the TV people to honor us with that Friday afternoon spot with Missouri, I think it's pretty cool at 1 o'clock again, and hopefully continue to build that thing up.
Coach, we'll go right here in the middle section, about 4 rows back.
Stephen Smith, Touchdown Alabama magazine. Coach, Jared Cornelius had a big game last year for the Crimson Tide. I think he had 5 catches for 146 yards. Who are some guys after him that are really starting to grow in your mind?
Yeah, Jay Red is a tremendously talented player. I think we did a postseason study that showed that he was actually one of the most productive slot receivers in all of college football last year with the numbers of receptions he had and the number of snaps he took. A very, very confident young man. I think he'll have his best year going into his senior year. At wide receiver, we signed 2 junior college players that I feel really have adapted the game well, that we brought in and have made a nice impact on us, as well as a couple younger players in our program, Deion Stewart, LaMichael Petway, some guys that I think can step up into a role that's pretty significant, and they've been working really hard. I know Ben Herbert in the weight room has felt good about what they're doing, and we're excited to get them out there.
Coach, we'll go over to my side on the left over here on the aisle.
Olin Buchanan, TexAgs.com. Coach, 2 years ago here you described a win over Texas as being borderline erotic. I was wondering if you are able to beat A&M with the way things have gone in your series with them. How do you think you would describe that?
I know you guys are all looking for quotes. I don't think I can go much further than that one. That was in a small group session, and that was before I had a child, so I'll just leave it there. But I think the respect for the program. I think A&M, what they did when they came in the league, the way Kevin was able to do certain things, and then obviously, to play that game in Cowboy Stadium. It's actually a year that Jerry Jones is going into the National Football League Hall of Fame. That is tremendously cool, and for us to be able to be there with them in that fashion. And we've been so close, have a couple overtime games, a couple things that we felt were going in the right way to have a change to get a victory over A&M. I think it's our first SEC game would be a step in the right direction. But one of the things that we do in our program, whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent, we literally take it one game at a time. And I know we're in the kickoff luncheon or kickoff meeting, so we got to talk about all those games. So we're going to worry about FAMU. We're going to get on TCU, and then A&M opportunity comes, and our guys, I think, will be ready to play.
Okay, Coach, we'll go to our right over here on the aisle.
Chase Goodbread with NFL.com. Coach, last year you mentioned that you would be in favor of a rule that would allow undrafted underclassmen to come back to school. Wondering if you've been able to gather any momentum on that at all. And as a part 2 to the question, how do you feel about this new agreement between the NFL and the AFCA that started this past spring, where some underclassmen get to go through drills with scouts, and so that scouts can get some more information?
Again, I think it's a step in the right direction, positive. I give Commissioner Sankey a lot of credit. I think, one of the things that's evolved since I've come in this league is just that each year there's a whole new set of issues that come up, and to be proactive to all of them is a step in the right direction. I know as a group of coaches, we came to commission last year into the SEC and asked for us to change some legislation maybe, or put forward some legislation that allow our guys to have a a better showing for the NFL that's more real, you know. So, for instance, I allowed several guys that I felt were juniors that if they play the way they can be, that they might be NFL eligible at the end of next year. So I let them take heights, weights, measurements, academic profiles, some limited testing that allows them to get a better feel. Is he really 6'2", or is he really 6'1.5" or 6'1.5", you know? So I think that's a step in the right direction. It's a baby step. I think we also had some more discussions this past spring about what we could do to progressively make this a little better if they do declare themselves, you know, and move back that declaration date. I know Nick and several other coaches in our league had proposed moving that date back a little bit to allow our guys to have a better understanding. I think there's times now where we have a bowl game, maybe it's in January, and a kid feels the pressure, or he's hearing from outside sources that he needs to make a decision sooner than later, that he makes a decision maybe before the bowl game even takes place, which tells me, A, he's not focused on his priorities, but also, B, he's getting some information from people that really shouldn't be gathering and giving information, and that leads to an uninformed decision. You know, I have a case in point where I had a young man 2 years ago, left early in the draft, didn't get drafted, and he has the ability to possibly start in the NFL now in year 2. For him to be an undrafted free agent, the money that he lost is never going to be regained, you know. And I knew he had that ability, but we were just all in a hurry. You know, we're in the microwave world where everybody wants things done in 20 seconds. You know, sometimes it needs to be cooked for 2 hours, and we got to figure that out and try to help our kids.
Okay, we'll go here in the center section, back in the middle.
Coach Bill Bender, Sporting News. How has the continuity on the offensive line improved throughout the spring, and how can you continue to build around that with Frank?
Great point. So one of the things that we do is, like even in our spring game, we go ones against the world. I believe with offensive line play, you have 5 guys that are attached in everything that they do. You always see O-linemen, they all go eat together. They all go watch a movie together. They all go do everything together, because we breed that in our program. Because for that left tackle, he's playing next to the left guard, but he needs to understand what the center's yelling and doing, or what the right guard's going to do on a kickout play. There's a continuity that has to develop, and we have 6 guys that have started SEC football games for us now on the offensive line. That's so much of an improvement from a year ago. Coach Anderson's had another year with this group. We've had a better addition. You know, one of the major issues with us last year in protection and taking care of our quarterback and being able to run the football is we just did not have enough of SEC quality offensive linemen in our program. I myself had not done what I needed to do to give us the numbers early on in those classes to get us there, or some guys had left a little bit early because they played well. So I feel really, really good about where that group is. I like the fact that they've taken some shots and they've survived, and I really think that they're in a mode to really prove some things this fall.
Okay, Coach, we'll go over to our right. Jason on the front row.
Jason Kersey, SEC Country. Brett, can you give us an update on the status of Montarik Brown and Melvin Johnson? I noticed Melvin wasn't in the media guide.
Yeah, absolutely, Jason. When we recruit players, we try to sign guys or put guys in a position that we feel that they're going to project to make it and qualify by the standards that the NCAA has. Melvin is a little bit unique in the fact that he was a guy that was at a junior college that we were trying to progress where he could end up in a projection to get here a little bit earlier than maybe he anticipated. So he will not make it by qualification standards, but he has a possibility of possibly joining us in December, depending on what he does and where he's at. Buster is currently doing everything he has to do to get where he needs to be to get here by the time fall camp. He is so close that if that doesn't happen here in the next couple of weeks, I do foresee him being able to join us by the time school starts, and at the worst, maybe a January enrollment, but he'll be with us sooner than later.
Okay, we'll go here in the center section, second row.
Jordan Hill with the Columbus Ledger-Inquirer. Kind of an unusual situation last season with Austin replacing his brother as the quarterback. Can you just speak to, how he handled that and the progress you've seen since then going into this spring?
Well, Austin's a smart dude, man. He's, one of the things that I grabbed when B.A. became the starter and Austin was coming in, I said, hey, here's 3 things you can do. You can sit and watch your brother play. That's kind of cool. You can also learn through your brother's failures, which isn't going to be a lot of fun, but you can still watch it happen. And the third thing is you can enjoy his success and understand why it happened. And I think he did that. I think he was there on every trial and tribulation. He survived it. He lived it. He also saw how he had to handle, to be the starting quarterback in the SEC is not an easy task on the field or off the field. You got a lot of things coming at you. So for him to survive and learn and to go through it a year ago gets me very excited. I think he's got a big chip on his shoulder. Here's a guy that's got some decoration and some awards. But because you play at Arkansas, maybe because he didn't have 5 stars coming in or 4 stars or how many ever stars he had, and maybe he's not tremendously pushed by us, on a sexiness factor or all this, all that. We at Arkansas try to prove what we are by numbers, by doing things that we actually can, put down on paper and believe them. Not a lot of hype or a lot of hubba. It's just, what have you done, and Austin's done some really good things. There's some things that he's got to do better. We had conversations about that. I wouldn't do anything but truly sit back and watch a guy that I think is going to be able to go to some heights that people never thought he'd be able to do. And in the end, he'll probably be the one smiling.
Can we ask you to stand? If you ask a question, we're going to go to the back on the left and the back end.
Adam Sparks of Tennessee. And Brett, it's kind of a loaded question, but you guys always talk about your father figures to 100-plus kids every year. Now that you are an actual father, do you see that perspective affected at all, or how does it affect your perspective of anything, being a dad?
I'm 48 hours into this, baby. I can't say as I'm well versed. I think it changes your perspective. I knew it always would. If my girl ends up playing football, we probably got a lot of problems. I'll encourage her to do whatever, but playing football ain't one of them. But I do think, someone asked a question earlier in the local media, or that just simply, if someone's got a high school age son, is it worth them to allow them to play football? And I have a resounding yes. I think there are definitely some times where maybe some people that aren't regulated the way they should be regulated on teaching, the fundamentals of the game safely. We've got to make sure that's always impact. I got to tell you, I'll watch a couple times I've gone to a high school practice or an opportunity to watch kids participate, and I'm like, ooh, that just doesn't look right, So that's why I'm on the rules committee. I mean, the rules committee does not pay you a dime. It takes up a lot of my time, and it eats up a week, 3 or 4 days of my free time that I don't like, but I do it because I want to change the game in the right way. I think with the direction of the rules committee, Steve Shaw, who's with the SEC, and several other voices in the room, several years back, we really went after the targeting rule. I know the commissioners all wanted to see our game become safer, and I think we literally, you can ask every one of my players, and I bet you ask every player that comes here from we have changed the perspective of how kids play football. There is no doubt in my mind that there are still going to be some targeting, there's going to be some launching and all that. It's going to come with the game and the fact that it's a game that happens so fast and it's played with a violent manner. But we have kids repeatedly on film that you see maybe 5 years ago would not make the same decision they're making now. They look to keep their eyes up. They look to not take blindside shots. They look to do things the way we're asking them to do because of the way we've implemented rules. So I think that's really cool. I think we just constantly have to be on the forefront of protecting our players. I just lost a player that, and there's no doubt in my mind, he was an NFL player to be. He's a tremendous human being. And I think all the time as coaches, we lose sight. We learn so much from our players. What I've learned from Riley Williams, you can't put in words. The things that I witnessed when I was on the field sitting with him and his family, to the time that I went and saw him in the hospital, to when I was reading a quote from him a day after he decided to leave the game, where he said, I always thought I had a great plan, but I got reminded once again that he has a better plan, referencing his faith. And it was a moment where I had to take a step back and realize where he was going and what he was talking about. That is a moment as a head coach that is so precious. It's better than any game, anything that you can ever learn, is when you know that you truly have your players' safety at their heart, in your heart. That's a big deal.
Okay, we'll go down here to the left. Tom, second row.
Tom Murphy, Arkansas Democrat Gazette. Brett, what's the timetable for Dre Greenlaw and for camp? And part two, do you feel like you're going to be a better run defense this coming year, and why would that be?
Can I ask you a question? Where'd you get that shirt? I like it. I think first, Dre Greenlaw, he looks great. He's come back. We witnessed with Dre is he for 2 years, he hasn't been able to complete the season, once with a foot injury and the year before as well. So we constantly are monitoring and looking at what we can do for him to make sure, but he should be 100% go by fall camp. And the other part was just the 3-4 defense, right? Last year, two things that Coach Fry taught me a long time ago about running the football is if you want to win games, you got to run the football and you got to stop the run. And last year, offensively, at times we weren't able to run the football effectively against good defenses. And on defense, there were times where the game got away from us and stopping the run. So it's been two huge points of emphasis. They kind of fed off one another. So in the spring, I could really emphasize that and work off of it. I think the 3-4 allows us to, just by pure math, you got 11 guys on the field, right? 8 guys now will be on their feet. Will be 2 guys, on 2 feet being able to change and run. And you just naturally become athletic, more athletic with a 3-4 scheme, I believe, with athletes on the field. There'll be a lot of the same schemes, a lot of the same coverages, but we're coming at it with the ability to bring different pressure. But more importantly, I think in today's world, too, the 3-4 aligns quicker and a little bit more simplistic to multiple offenses in a short amount of time, and that should help us.
Coach, we'll go over here to the right side. In the middle.
Blake Totmeyer, Columbia Tribune. Brett, with so many quarterbacks back in the SEC this year, including yours, do you subscribe to the idea or buy into the idea that this could be kind of the year of the quarterback in this conference?
I'm a big believer in the year of the quarterback every year. I mean, obviously we can only control who's back, who isn't back, who's new and who's not. But in all my years of doing this, even before I became a coach, when I was a player, I think I always look back and I reflect on the teams that we had that were successful were teams that had great quarterbacks or quarterbacks that could lead. And then as a coach, that's being reinforced 100 times over. I have so much respect in this league because really within all of our league, especially in the West, every scheme is unique and different. A&M is running an up-tempo spread offense, but their offense is totally different than Auburn's. Auburn's is different than Mississippi State's. Mississippi State's different than Ole Miss. Alabama's a little bit of everything now. We'll see where they go. LSU, I think, is going to be a little more pro-style, but we'll see. Matt and I work together, so a little bit about his offensive background. But that's what's unique in the SEC West is quarterback play is very, very important, but it's also very unique to each team. Some put a little bit more emphasis on what that quarterback can do, not only at the line of scrimmage, but what he can do pre-snap, how he reacts and handles pressure, both mentally and physically. So, yeah, it's always going to be a league of the quarterback. That's why those guys always get a lot of money at that next level. You know what I mean? At our level, they get all the attention. Mine aren't getting money. I don't know about anybody else's, but that part I think is very, very important. Is that quarterback position is essential to success, and that's not going to change no matter who's back or who's there or who isn't there.
Okay, we'll go here in the center section, about midway back, right in front of us.
David Caravella, Post and Courier. Brett, can you take us through how David Williams ended up at Arkansas, and what do you first see as his role in that position?
Yeah, great question. Back when I was at Wisco, I had a fifth-year transfer quarterback by the name of Russell Wilson come in my hands. He was in that position. Really, I went after him because, A, he was a grad transfer, and B, we had an extreme bad luck at quarterback. I had my three most experienced quarterbacks were questionable to be in fall camp. 2 of them ended up not playing that year. One of them was coming off his third ACL repair. So it was just an extreme situation of need, and Russell came up on the screen. This one kind of developed in somewhat the same way. I had actually known David. He actually had come to visit me when I was at Wisconsin. When I made the transition to Arkansas, I actually was on, recruiting or thinking about recruiting David, but he went in a different direction, committed to South Carolina and the SEC. So I made note of that. I knew where he was at. And then, come full circle with Raleigh's situation. And then Juwan Day is another player that probably would have been our 4th-string tailback. Came to me and I knew this was probably coming. He's been through 2 ACLs, just kind of wanted a different pace. So I lost 2 of my top 4 backs. And I know we're going to be fine. Devon Whaley's really good. I recruited 2 freshmen. I've had this a lot in my career where, we lose a running back that's really good and everybody's always worried, and we have another guy come through. So I just really felt I wanted someone a little bit more maturity in the room if I could get it. That presented the opportunity to talk to David. I reached out to the SEC office, asked the questions that I'd have to ask to have him be able to transfer in. Got great information from the SEC office. Really then just started the appeal process. Went through that. I give a lot of credit to Will in South Carolina. They were very cooperative, didn't try to put a block on him or whatnot. I think this young man was recruited by Coach Spurrier and brought in, and things just didn't go his way, and he graduated on time and deserved an opportunity. And I give the commission a lot of credit to be forward thinking, and there's some things coming to our game that have just never happened before, and this rule, I'm sure people are going to like it or don't like it. As coaches, I'm a little bit torn. I've seen it be very successful. I on the flip side of it, I had a running back who was a third-string running back for me, but he was behind Monty Ball and James White. I knew he was a good player, so he transferred to Pitt, ended up starting for Pitt, and had a chance to play in the NFL. And I was the one facilitated the whole thing because I knew he was going to get buried in our depth chart. So it's something that we got. I think we have to have a radar up about what's going on in our league, because you don't want kids just kind of have the ability to freely do these things or transfer without some restrictions. But again, I give a lot of credit to the SEC in allowing this to happen, because he truly is a kid that's done everything right. He's never had any issues academically or off the field. We had a prior relationship, and to be able to bring him into a position of need, and to start, his grad degree is going to be something that he's interested in, that was a little bit unique to us as well, that allows him to get into some real estate and some different things. So it's really a marriage made in heaven, and been a great addition to campus.
We'll take one final question over here on the left.
Bob, what's the deal, Bob?
Go ahead.
Will Savin from the Clarion Ledger. Coach, going back to the conversation about SEC quarterbacks, your team beat Mississippi State last year, but their quarterback, Nick Fitzgerald, accumulated a lot of yards both on the ground and through the air. I was curious what made him so hard to limit, and there's been a lot of talk about him becoming a better passer, and I was curious what your thoughts are of him as a passer as well.
Absolutely. I think 2 things. First, very tremendously talented young man that's got size, speed, agility, throws the ball very well. The second thing is Dan Mullen. I think Dan Mullen has proven obviously what he can do at the quarterback position and his development and the system that he has. I mean, just don't have to look any further than Dak Prescott and what he's able to do now at the highest level. So I got a lot of respect and admiration for that. We started to see firsthand how he kind of grew, and I knew he got even better after we played him. So going to be a tremendous task in front of us, but seems to be a guy that has got all the things that you need to have position, especially in that type of offense. So, unfortunately for us, it'll be another task for us.
All right, Coach Bielema, thank you for your time.
Appreciate it. Will Pig.
Here's what I want you all to do for me. Bang! Caught you looking for the same thing. It's a new thing. Check out this I bring. The roll below the level, cause I'm living low next to the base. Come on! Turn up the radio. They're claiming I'm a criminal. But now I wonder how. Some people never know. The enemy could be the Flint Guardian. I'm not a hooligan. I rock the party and clear all the madness. I'm not a racist. Preach to teach the officers. Cause they never had this. Number 1, never wanna run about the gun. I wasn't licensed to have one. The minute they see me, fear me. I'm the epitome of public enemy. Use, abuse without clues. I refuse to blow a fuse. They even had it on the news. Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the hype. Yes, was the start of my last jam, so here it is again, another Def Jam. But since I gave you all a little something that I knew you lacked, they still consider me a new jack. All the critics you can hang on my hold the rope, but they host to the Pope and pray it ain't dope. The follower of Farrakhan, don't tell me that you understand until you hear the man. The book up the new school rap game. Writers treat me like Coltrane, insane. Yes to them, but to me, I'm a different kind. We're brothers of the same mind, unblind, caught in the middle end, not surrendering. I don't rhyme for the sake of riddling. So claiming that I'm a smuggler. Some say I never heard of ya. A rap burglar, false media. We don't need it, do we? It's fake, that's what it be to you. Dig me? Yo, Terminator X, step up on the stand and show these people what time it is, boy. Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the hype.
Don't believe the hype, it's a sequel. As an equal, can I get this through to you? My 98 booming with a trunk of funk. All the jealous punks can't stop the dunk. Coming from the school of hard knocks, some perpetrate. They drink Clorox, attack the black because I know they lack exact the cold facts, and still they try to Xerox. The leader of the new school, uncool, never played the fool, just made the rules. Remember, there's a need to get alarm. Again, I said I was a time bomb. In the daytime, radio scared of me, cause I'm mad, plus I'm the enemy. They can't come on and play me in prime time, cause I know the time, plus I'm getting mine. I get on the mix late in the night. They know I'm living right, so here goes the mic sight. Before I let it go, don't rush my show. You try to reach and grab and get elbow. Word to her, yo, if you can't swing this, learn the words. You might sing this, just a little bit of the taste of the bass for you. As you get up and dance at the LQ, with some deny it, defy it, I swing polos. Then they clear the lane, I go solo. The meaning of all of that to media is the wax. As you believe it's true, it blows me through the roof. Suckers, liars, give me a shovel. Some writers I know are damn devils. From them I say don't believe the hype. Yo, Chuck, they must be on the pipe, right? The pens and pads I snatch cause I've had it. I'm not an addict, fiend for static. I see the tape recorder and I grab it. No, you can't have it back, silly rabbit. I'm going to my media assassin, Harry Allen. I gotta ask him. Yo, Harry, you're a writer. Are we that tight?
Don't believe the hype.
Now here's what I want you all to do for me.
Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the hype.
I got flavor and all those things you know.
Yeah, boy, part 2 bum rush the show. Yo, Griff,
get the green, black, and red in. Gold down, countdown to Armageddon. 88 you wait, the S1s will put the lefts in effect, and I still will rock the hard jams, treat it like a seminar. Reach the bourgeois and rock the boulevard. Some say I'm negative, but then I'm positive. What I got to give?
The media says this.
Red,
yo,
black, and green.
That hype. They got to be.
You know what I mean?
You know what I'm saying? Yo, the megas got them going up to see Captain Kirk like a jerk and they out of work. Let me tell you a little something, man. A lot of people on daytime radio are scared of us because they too ignorant to understand the lyrics of the truth that we pumping into them clouds, that brain cells, that they're spun under the wooden skulls they call caps, you know what I'm saying? But the S1s to straighten it out quick, fast, in a hurry. Don't worry, flavor vision ain't blurry, you know what I'm saying? Yo, Terminator X! Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the hype.
Come into SEC now. I'm Dory Noka. Chris Doring along in just a few minutes. There is plenty of football news, particularly out of Gainesville and Auburn. We will get there shortly, but first, a sad day in the SEC and in college athletics in general. Arkansas legend Frank Broyles died Monday from complications of Alzheimer's at his home, surrounded by loved ones at the age of 92. Before, Frank Broyles was an accomplished athletics director at Arkansas. Before, he was an iconic voice of college football for ABC Sports. Even before he was a legendary coach for the Razorbacks, Frank Broyles was a football star in the Southeastern Conference. Born in Decatur, Georgia in 1924, Broyles played football, baseball, and basketball at Georgia Tech, at the time an SEC institution. In football, Broyles earned all SEC honors twice, and his name still appears in the Orange Bowl record book with other famous quarterbacks: Dak Prescott, Carson Palmer, Matt Leinart, and Tom Brady. All threw for at least 300 yards in that bowl game. Broyles did it in 1945. After graduating from Georgia Tech, Broyles jumped right into coaching. For the next 10 seasons, he was an assistant at Baylor, Florida, and Georgia Tech. In 1957, Broyles earned his first head coaching job at Missouri. 1 year later, he was named the head coach at Arkansas, a program eager for success.
Good release now. They're going to be knocking the devil out of them. Give a snap count and run the curl.
In the 19 seasons before Broyles, the Razorbacks recorded 6 winning seasons. In the 19 seasons under Broyles, Arkansas had 14.
As a coach, you get acquainted with the players. I knew what their goal was. I knew what they'd gone through. And it was my job to be sure that they put forth the effort to succeed.
One of the biggest games in Arkansas history came in 1964 when the Hogs visited Texas, the defending national champions. Arkansas won 14-13 en route to being the only unbeaten and untied team in major college football. However, Broyles and the Razorbacks were denied the AP or Coaches Poll National Championship, as those were handed out at the end of the regular season, before the bowl games. Bear Bryant and Alabama earned those titles before losing to Texas in the Orange Bowl. The next year, the AP experimented with holding its final vote until after the bowls. In 1968, that change was permanent. The 1964 season is still considered a pinnacle for Arkansas football. Southwest Conference champs, the Cotton Bowl crown, and several legendary Razorbacks, Ronnie Cavaness, Jimmy Johnson, and Jerry Jones.
Coach Broyles was not a coach by education, but he was a great motivator, and he really taught life's lessons.
Broyles is also linked to legendary rival Darrell Royal. Over a 10-year span, Arkansas and Texas met 6 times as top 10 teams, including 1969, the game of the century. Number 2 Arkansas led 14-0 after 3 quarters. But number 1 Texas scored 15 points in the 4th to win the game and earn the national title from President Richard Nixon.
I've never seen stands so full of life. The whole state was behind you. There was a spirit there about it, Coach, and that means that your team has done something that's really great for this state.
Starting in 1974, Broyles served as head coach and men's athletics director for 3 seasons. In 1976, he stepped away from the field, retiring as the Razorbacks' winningest coach with 144 victories. His name now adorns the Broyles Award, given to the nation's top assistant coach, in honor of the success his assistants attained. Names like Barry Switzer, Johnny Majors, Joe Gibbs, and Jimmy Johnson.
Frank was really a smart football coach as far as percentages and how to win, and I thought he did a great job, with the team that way.
In 1977, while still serving as Arkansas athletic director, Broyles joined the legendary Keith Jackson as the lead college football broadcast team for ABC Sports.
The Bowls have shown that Southeastern Conference is the toughest league in America, and they are the champions of that league.
Jackson and Broyles worked together for 9 years, covering some of college football's most memorable games.
Jackson! Touchdown! Obviously, the offense has been ineffective, but when they had to, they moved when it meant the difference in possibly winning or losing the football game.
In 1985, Broyles put down the microphone, but continued as director of men's athletics until 2007. During his tenure, Arkansas's men's programs won and 104 conference titles. He also hired legendary Razorback coaches Eddie Sutton, Nolan Richardson, and Lou Holtz.
I learned an awful lot from Frank Broyles. Very diplomatic. I mean, he could convince you to do certain things that you made up your mind. I don't think that's what I want to do, but he just had a way with people. He put Arkansas on the map.
In the early 1990s, Broyles left perhaps his greatest mark as an administrator, guiding Arkansas out of the Southwest Conference and into the SEC, a process completed by the 1992 football season. The move started a wave of conference realignment and by 1996, the Southwest Conference was dissolved. The impact of Frank Broyles on college football is boundless. More than 6 decades in the game, nearly a half-century of service to the University of Arkansas, a member of the College Football Hall of Fame, and a legacy perhaps unmatched in all of college sports. SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey on Broyles, quote, Frank Broyles made a lifelong impact on thousands of Arkansas student-athletes and millions of fans and alumni, all who knew him as Coach Broyles, while positively altering the course of the University of Arkansas and the entire state of Arkansas. He fostered a unique loyalty to Arkansas athletics and promoted the Razorback brand nationwide. As the Razorbacks athletics director, he played a significant role in the history of the Southeastern Conference when he guided the transition of Arkansas into the SEC. He was a man of significant accomplishment who charted the course of a preeminent college athletics program for more than 5 decades, and his legacy will continue to impact the University of Arkansas, the SEC, and all of college athletics for many years to come. And Paul Feinbaum, of course, just did his show, stayed here late to talk with us about Broyles. I've never heard a single person utter a negative word about Frank Broyles. I've been to Arkansas plenty of times. It's remarkable. What about him makes him and made him so likable?
It's interesting. I just talked to Pat Dye about that, Dory, and he said he had this charisma about him, this it factor. I think it also has to do with where he grew up. He was a Southerner. He had this genteel charm about him that he never lost. And I think most important in talking to so many people today and remembering Coach Broyles, people loved him in Arkansas because what he did for that state. He took over at a time when things were not good. They weren't good in a lot of places in the South because of strife, but he brought pride to a place that had not had very much. He made them feel important. As you know, Arkansas has one real football team, so the state coalesced around him, and with that championship in '64, and then that epic game, which we've talked about so many times in 1969, where Richard Nixon declared the winner of the game the national champion. People just still hang on to that and have never forgotten it. And you know, what we fail to mention sometimes is what he did as an athletic director. I know you did in your piece there, but for me, as a student of the game, I remember him so often for his time with Keith Jackson. So many epic games, including the end of the Bear Bryant era.
What was, as somebody who's been around this league so much, where does getting Arkansas into the SEC rank in his list of achievements?
I think deep down it might be #1 because you can win a national championship and that team talks about it, and we all know, we've heard Jerry Jones and Jimmy Johnson talk about it so often, but by getting Arkansas into the SEC, he got them away from the bad news of the Southwest Conference. Who really knew what would happen with the Big 8, which later became the Big 12, and he put them in the premier conference in college athletics, and they won a basketball championship. They won so many championships in other sports. They played for SEC titles. Now, I think that will be his true legacy in that state and in the conference.
You personally, let's say 5 years down the road, somebody says, what was Frank Broyles all about? 10 years down the road, what will you tell him?
I think he exuded character and integrity. He had so much class about him, and I think he'll be remembered today, tomorrow, 10, 20 years from now as being one of the titans, and it's an overused phrase, Dari, but he is easily a Mount Rushmore figure in this league's history.
Thanks for staying at work a little later.
My pleasure.
Paul Feinbaum, appreciate that. Of course, one of the players that he had at Arkansas is the owner of the Dallas Cowboys now, Jerry Jones, who says of Broyles, this is an immeasurable loss of a man whose personality and presence touched millions of athletes, students, coaches, and fans for more than 7 decades. A man whose spirit and impact on lives will continue to be felt for generations to come. Coach Broyles was a life-changing influence for me, both from a personal and professional perspective. He taught me, and he taught all of his players how to be prepared for the fourth quarter, both on the field and in life. He then displayed to all of us how to handle that fourth quarter with the care and devotion he so lovingly provided for his wife, Barbara, as she faced Alzheimer's in her final years.
Heavy hearts across the Natural State tonight as sports fans and Arkansans from all over pause to remember the life of a Razorback legend.
Former Arkansas head coach and athletic director Frank Broyles has passed away after a battle with Alzheimer's. We begin tonight with team coverage from here in the capital city and from the home of the Razorbacks in Northwest Arkansas.
Let's start with a look back at Coach's career and the huge impact he left on not only Arkansas, but college athletics as a whole.
How many times did he call the Hogs? It's got to be in the tens of thousands. Pretty good considering after coming from Missouri, he lost his first 6 games. But Broyles made adjustments that first year and produced a winner that saw 4 winning seasons in a row. And thanks to an outstanding group of assistants, they won the Cotton Bowl in 1964. When Bobby Burnett scored a late touchdown against Nebraska, Arkansas wins the Football Writers National Championship. It would be Broyles' highlight as coach. This was the last great victory as coach in 1976 in the Cotton Bowl, a victory over Georgia. In 1977, he became the full-time athletic director. Entering the network TV phase of his career, he was color commentator on ABC's College Football. Even had an acting role as doctor to Gregory Peck's Lincoln in the TV movie The Blue and the Gray. The coaches he hired became big news, as did the coaches he fired, and the moves he made. Like in 1990, getting Arkansas into the SEC. In a 2007 interview at the Pryor Center at the U of A, he admitted he made the move out of fear.
I was scared. I don't mind telling you that A&M and Texas was going to pull out, go somewhere, and we'd be left without any of the big draws in our conference.
But once in the SEC, the ante had been raised, so that by 2000, he made his most controversial move ever, pulling games from War Memorial Stadium and Little Rock.
I lost some real good friends over that because I was convinced that we had to have a stadium to be competitive in the Southeastern Conference.
He would get that stadium built in 2001. After his wife died of Alzheimer's, Coach committed much of his energy to raising money for research. In 2007, the U of A board voted to end Broyles' tenure after 50 years of service. The words that day ring true this day, describing his legacy.
To always try to be better, to try to make things better.
It's about emotion. It's not about a bottom line business. Yet he was able to keep the emotion and do the kinds of things that you have to do.
And the fans of Arkansas deserve all the credit. They're the ones that made everything happen. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Coach. Frank Broyles was 92.
Well, outside the football field that bears his name, Razorback fans have paid tribute to Frank Broyles all day.
TCV 11's David Libman is live on the Hill tonight to explain how fans are feeling.
Craig, Denise, all the flowers that you see at the foot of the Frank Broyles statue out here outside Razorback Stadium show just how highly people thought of him. But there's also some disappointment around campus about how few Razorbacks actually know what he accomplished.
Shaking his hand, knowing what history and what impact that man has is completely unparalleled to really anything I've had.
That's why Samson Tamajani set flowers on Frank Broyles' statue. Some of his favorite memories growing up were watching Razorbacks victories with his dad and grandpa.
Being able to have that pride, you know, it's something that continues all the way through now, and I think that's really relatable to a lot of generations of Razorbacks.
Many Arkansas students say the success the Razorbacks have had since Broyles came to Fayetteville has a big impact on morale around campus, especially on fall Saturdays.
A sea of red, and football is the only talk.
He's the one that instilled that and got John McDonald over here. He's the one that made these huge palaces where Razorbacks shine.
Razorbacks I spoke with believe all the national championships and all the Olympic medalists from the athletic department Broyles developed bring positive attention to the campus and to the state that it wouldn't otherwise receive.
It puts us in the national rankings of things. It's like people know what Arkansas is because of the sports here.
But many of today's Razorbacks are too young to know who Broyles was or the difference he made for the university. Those who do know think the school would be a better place if the rest learned more about his impact.
They'd have a lot more instinctive pride.
There will be a public memorial for Broyles on Saturday at 2 p.m. at Bud Walton Arena. The University of Arkansas says everyone is welcome. Reporting live from Fayetteville, David Litton, THV 11 News.
David, thank you very much. As fans mourn the man who became the face of Razorback athletics, so do the players that don the Cardinal and white today. The Hogs beginning another week of fall camp with heavy hearts this evening. Pine Bluff native Josh Liddell grew up a Razorback fan his entire life.
Growing up in Arkansas and knowing all the history that's come with this school and obviously Coach Frank Broyles and what he means to this university, what he means can't be put into words.
After all that time as the head coach currently that we all know and love, the legend of Frank Broyles, it continued to grow, as do so many other legends that know so much from Coach. Take a look. Former Razorback and Cowboys owner Jerry Jones, he was the singular most important man of sports in the history of the state of Arkansas. Darren McFadden, very sad day for Razorback Nation. We lost a great one. Frank Broyles will forever be missed. Finally, Brett Bielema. Few men have the vision and strength to guide so many. Coach Broyles is the standard of Arkansas leadership and all of college football. Hashtag W.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieve. How precious did that grace appear, the hour I first believed. When we've been there 10,000 years, bright shine.
Wanted his own show too, kind of like those guys, and turns out we're giving it to him. It's Thinking Out Loud, premiering September 4th.
That's all you got to do, huh? Is just start saying that.
That's how the late night talk show hosts come out. Thank you. Appreciate you guys coming out.
Be you. But before that, we're going to read and react. You guys are good at thinking on your feet, and this is what we've got for you. I'm going to give you a sentence, and you let me know how that happens. We're going to start with you, Jordan. This is about Austin Allen. If he will once again lead the SEC in pass yards, what has to happen?
Yeah, it won't be surprising. What has to happen is somebody else outside Jared Cornelius has to catch the ball. They don't return anybody that has any more than 2 catches outside of Cornelius. And furthermore, with the abrupt retirement of Raleigh Williams, a lot more weight is going to be on Austin Allen's shoulders. Devois Whaley is a great back, but they are going to be throwing the ball a ton. Although, just like last year, doesn't mean it's going to translate to more W's. It's going to be on the other side of the ball. Does a new 3-4 scheme translate to stopping and scoring more to actually win games?
Yeah, you got to think, too, that certainly Austin Allen wants to be more protected than he was last year.
To meet the most passionate fans in all of sport.
Very physical, very demanding.
Southeastern Conference is second to none.
Welcome to another great week in the biggest and baddest conference in all the land.
He's running over people. Oh, you Herschel Walker. Fournette runs over a man. Put him on the hood, Leonard.
Watch Bo Jackson with 9.5 speed gets outside and see you later.
There goes Davis. Oh, my God. Davis is going to run it all the way back. Auburn's going to win the football game. Allen on the grounds, trying and push through for the win.
To a beautiful day here in Fayetteville, Arkansas, Razorback Stadium, where they will be hosting one of the best home schedules in the country this year, with visits from the likes of Alabama and LSU and Florida. And it starts today with Louisiana Tech. And the Razorbacks are ready to run free from the hog pen. Play action with Walker, and on the rollout, he's got his tight end, Jeremy Sprinkle, down inside the 20, and they'll move the chains again. We get our first look at the All-America candidate. Williams, the cutback to the left, and he's in. Touchdown, Razorbacks. Fourth and 8. Allen fires, and it's caught for the first down. And the spin move from Keon Hatcher inside the 20. 18 yards on the pickup. They'll send both tight ends to the left side this time. On the boot, Allen looks to the end zone, diving at the goal line and caught for a touchdown. Jared Cornelius.
Drew Morgan, a guy outside that can Sprinkle, the tight end.
Allen on the rollout, looking to throw back against the grain, and he's got his man. Touchdown, Jeremy Sprinkle.
Fourth down, everything's on the line. Who do you go to, Beth? You go to your stud tight end. Right now, 3rd and long. Dietrich Wise on the bottom. Their premier pass rusher. Been quiet today. Need him to show up here.
Jamar Smith in trouble. Down he goes. His helmet pops off as he's sacked back inside the 40 by Wise and Tolliver.
Welcome to the game, Dietrich Wise.
And now on 3rd down, 39 seconds to go. Now they can take a knee.
That's it. That's it.
And that'll do it as the play clock resets to 40. Not enough time. And the Hogs can let it run down and get out of here with a 21-20 win.
A pleasant Texas night at Amon G. Carter Stadium. First road game for Arkansas. The Hogs have come to Fort Worth for the first time since 1991 when these two were Southwest Conference rivals.
He's a very confident guy. He wants to make big plays down the field. You want to force him to take everything underneath.
Trying to extend the play, and Brooks Ellis. Pick 6. Will it be? Yes! How about that? Big man with big plans in the end zone. Pick 6, Brooks Ellis.
The last 2 plays in this possession, Kenny Hill tried to hit his back out of the backfield, working on the linebacker Ellis. Ellis has started a lot of ball. He's the leader of this defense, and he's got his eyes locked right on Kenny Hill. The ball's thrown behind Hicks. It kind of floats in the air, and Brooks Ellis makes a great break on it.
Allen to pass again. Pressure was coming as he released it, and right into the hands of Jeremy Sprinkle. How about those last 2 strides by Sprinkle to track down that pass? To the end zone. Caught. Touchdown, Drew Morgan.
What a beautiful throw by Austin Allen. A back shoulder throw to the corner of the end zone.
3rd and 1.
You got Hill or Hicks running it here.
And here is Hill. Same play he scored on, and he scores again just to the other side. Allen. Touchdown, Arkansas, Keon Hatcher. Will they cap off a wild fourth quarter? Reverse to pass. Allen. Wow! Touchdown, Arkansas. I mean, Brett Bielema pulled everything out that time.
You said reverse. That was a double reverse. 2 handoffs and then a pass for the 2-point conversion. That is unbelievably well done.
A 28-yard attempt. It is blocked. Arkansas's big men come up big. It may have been Wise who got up there. Austin Allen wipes the brow. Shock here in Fort Worth. They pick up the pressure. Allen. Caught. Touchdown, Jeremy Sprinkle.
Well, you just can't throw this ball in any better place than Austin Allen did. He threw it up high where his 6'5" tight end could go get it. The cornerback, Jeff Gladney, had no chance because of where the ball was thrown. It's either your guy catches it or it goes out of bounds. 3rd down and long. Obviously 4-down territory. You don't have to get it all in this play, and you can get a first down without scoring a touchdown. So you have 2 plays to get 10 yards or a touchdown here.
Porter's at the top of your screen. He's a big 6-foot target, 6'4" target. Hill trying to extend the play to the end zone. Caught! Touchdown! Williams finally breaking through.
Well, that's all Kenny Hill. Buying time, eluding pressure, and the whole time he's dancing in the pocket with his feet, his eyes are towards the end zone downfield.
Allen on the ground, trying and pushed through for the win.
What an incredible effort by Austin Allen. There were some blockers out there that didn't necessarily get great blocks, but Austin Allen would not be denied. We've seen Kenny Hill run into the end zone on design quarterback runs. Watch the individual effort of Austin Allen. He just fights through about 5 TCU defenders and would not be denied at the goal line. A safe call, but a good call and a great effort by the quarterback, Austin Allen.
And a great extra effort by his center, Frank Ragnow.
You know, the Allen brothers are very athletic players. We're just trying to showcase that to everybody. But it was a play that he got clocked on earlier in the game. But I think that was a 5-yard gain, right? And he pushed that pile, and tremendous effort by him, but all the guys around him. I think they knew that play was going to go.
5 defensive backs for Arkansas. Jones is going to throw. Fire to the sideline. Intercepted Pulley at the 15. Ryan at the 10 to the 5. Touchdown, Arkansas. Pulley with a pick 6, 25 yards.
Welcome to SEC Saturday Night. We're in Fayetteville, Arkansas. The flyover moments ago here at Razorback Stadium for a pair of undefeated teams as number 24 Arkansas gets set to tangle with Texas State for the first time ever. 5 minutes in, 3rd down and goal. Allen, all kinds of time. Dangerous pass, and it is caught for the touchdown. Keon Hatcher with O'Roy in coverage from 10 yards out.
start fast and finish strong, and they're off to a fast start. We watched him in practice yesterday. Dan Enos is a fundamentals guy. He works that throw right there every day in practice. Over the corner, underneath the safety.
Jones, pass is picked off. Racing to the end zone, Ryan Pulley from 25 yards out, the pick six.
Pulley had a big week last week. He's playing with a ton of confidence right now. Coach Rob Smith believes he's got a ton of ability, long arms, high ceiling. He can do a lot of good things with his football team.
Dual tight ends, Williams. Parted like the Red Sea to the end zone and a touchdown. The second score of the night for the sophomore, this one from 15 yards out. Riley Williams goes for over 100 yards, scores 2 touchdowns, a big night for Keon Hatcher, the talented wide receiver for the Razorbacks. And Rhett Bielema has got to feel good, undefeated, 3-0 after 3 weeks. Once again, our final score, 42-3.
SEC action brings us 17th ranked Arkansas and 10th ranked Texas A&M. Allen to the end zone he goes. Touchdown Hogs, Keon Hatcher. Allen on 3rd and 8. Complete. Cornelius, tiptoe, cut back, stiff arm, 1st and goal, Razorbacks. Number 22. Williams. Redemption, Raleigh Williams. Second chances are great, aren't they, Dad?
I'm not so sure that wasn't the same play that they ran when he fumbled. Christian Kirk only 1 catch for 8 yards. This is him right here in the slot, working on Andre Tolliver.
Here's Knight straight up the middle. Nobody was home, and there goes Trevor. He's done it again. First down, Aggies. Williams darting through and into the end zone. Trevion Williams, 33-yard touchdown. Arkansas had won 5 straight, but Texas A&M, that goal line stand and then the 92-yard touchdown pass to Josh Reynolds, and all of a sudden this game went in a different direction. 45-24.
Allen looks to toss on 1st down over the middle. Touchdown, Razorbacks.
That's a great double move by Jared Cornelius. He's not a guy that's going to blow you away with his size or his speed, but he's a very disciplined receiver. He understands how to play the position. He knows how to stem DBs. He knows how to stick routes, and he used all of what I just mentioned to get open in the red zone right there. And there's no doubt about it, Austin Allen can flat spin the rock.
2 for 2 thus far on scoring drives. This one will have to be a little bit longer, starting from their own 25-yard line. Like some motion early, no flag, and a gaping hole up the middle and a big run. Here comes Devois Whaley. Foot race, and no one is going to catch number 21. A touchdown for the Razorbacks.
5'11", 216, and if you get down there next to him, he looks more 225-ish. It's a big back. You know what you expect between the tackles, but when you get one that size and that young, that can take it the distance, he's got a chance to be special.
On 1st down at 25. Allen from the pocket steps up, delivers a strike over the middle, wide open at the 5. Touchdown, Jared Cornelius.
when you get a quarterback that's being protected the way that Austin Allen has the last 2 times, he can hold the ball a tick longer. That allows these receivers, again, like we talked about, same guy, different time in the game. Stem to the DB, stuck the route, the DB bit on the corner route, and he goes to the post wide open. Easy throw. We call those throws in the ocean. Like that's how easy it should be. If Arkansas plays man-to-man, they should have the advantage.
Empty backfield. Pass is picked off at the 30. Look out. Tolliver. Touchdown. 70 yards.
One of the most frustrating things in sports in this game for a quarterback is a tipped ball by your own receiver that turns into an interception. Right there, you've got a couple of short routes. You try to hit the inside hitch, for lack of better terms. Goes off his hands. DB that's covering the outside receiver is standing there, and it's an early Christmas for him. Catch to the house.
Arkansas 4-1 for the first time in 5 years. A 52-10 drubbing of Alcorn State. And the Razorbacks have a week to get ready for the #1 team in America, the Crimson Tide of Alabama.
Can he get there? Falls out. Big hit. They don't do it. End of story. Santos Ramirez pops him. From Razorback Stadium, you got the #1 team in the country, mighty Alabama, on the road against 16th ranked Arkansas. First Arkansas team familiar with games like this. In fact, no program has played more close games against #1 than these Hogs. Third and 19. With time and the completion for the first down to Cornelius.
You have to stay on schedule and get the game into the fourth quarter down by 7 or 10 or even or ahead, or else that game's a little bit too tough for you.
Play action again. Downfield he's go. Wide open is Sprinkle. Touchdown Arkansas.
Well, it was Ryan Anderson who got called for the personal foul on the sideline a play ago, and it was Ryan Anderson who got beat in single coverage on the big tight end, Jeremy Sprinkle, for the touchdown. Here he comes in motion. Watch 22 reach and grab and miss, and it's all over after that.
Coming after Allen. Ball comes loose. Tim Williams has it, and he's got blockers in front. Picking up a block, and Bama has done it again. Another defensive touchdown. That is their 6th of the year.
Well, the thing about them, their defensive line after this play.
Good effort that time by Cornelius as he breaks free, trying to be tracked down, and finally is dragged down inside the 20 by Minkah Fitzpatrick. So an opportunity now in this final minute. So dream scenario is a 14-point loop here, but you gotta climb the mountain in the red zone against mighty Bama, and that is tough to do. Allen to the end zone he goes. Is that secured? Yes, touchdown Keon Hatcher. A 3rd and goal for Arkansas. Good snap by Keon Hatcher. Quick hands, great result for the Hogs.
I mean, you can't be in better position in coverage than Ronnie Harrison was, but this is just a receiver snatching the ball out of the air.
2nd and 18. Here's Austin Allen. Picked off again by Minkah Fitzpatrick. What a game he is having, and he's going to take it out of the end zone. And he's got a blocker in front with Allen to beat. How about it, Minkah Fitzpatrick, 100 yards of glory. Alabama pushes their win streak to 17. They get past the first of the 4 straight tough games that could define their year. 49-30. Play action. Allen downfield. He's got him and into the hands of Dominic Reed.
That is all because of their ability to run early in the game. It puts the Ole Miss defense on its heels. It sets up anything they want to do, and they're able to protect their quarterback.
Also, there was the sack on the first possession, so that goes against your running yards in college football. Here's Williams. Good block in front, and Raleigh Williams has a chance here. Big gainer for the sophomore. Great block by Hayden Johnson, the freshman fullback.
And Jeremy Sprinkle, the tight end. Watch the tight end and the fullback. This is Arkansas power football. These two guys. Watch the key blocks. Sprinkle ties up his guy. The freshman fullback in Raleigh Williams doesn't even get touched until he gets well down the field into the Ole Miss secondary. Sprinkle is the key guy to watch here, and he is out here as a wide receiver. Watch him come back in motion towards the play.
Allen to the end zone. Touchdown, Drew Morgan. Kelly into the end zone. Oh, so easy. A drive that started at the 10 and finishes with Chad Kelly in the end zone.
Boy, beautiful move.
2nd and 16. Allen steps up. Downfield complete. Cornelius. He has been something this year. Jared Cornelius. Speed option. Williams, touchdown.
A really nice job by Raleigh Williams, planting that right foot and just busting it up north-south, right inside DeMarcus Gates, number 3.
Flag is down here.
Offsides.
And it's free play inside the 10 and into the end zone for Chad Kelly. We're coming up on just 3 minutes to play. Here's the pitch. And Williams gets loose inside the 20. Puts his shoulder down for a 1st and goal. The Hogs are cranking it. And now he goes with the receivers to the top. Out of the shotgun now as Cornelius comes into the backfield here for 2nd and goal. And they give him the ball. Cornelius scores it. What a call.
Cornelius, they motion him back to the backfield. They hand him the football, and the Ole Miss defense is running, thinking it's sweep all the way. And Cornelius, once he sees a crease, he plants that left foot and cuts it into the end zone.
4th and 16. Soak it in, folks. Game on the line. Can he get there? Ball's out. Big hit. They don't do it. End of story. Santos Ramirez pops him.
That's the 2nd time Santos Ramirez has made a hit to cause a fumble. Chad Kelly, the competitor that he is, he knows what he needs for the first down. He's going to fight for it. And Ramirez, shoulder right on the football. Remember, it was Ramirez who got his shoulder on the ball earlier and caused an incompletion that would have been a third down conversion. This one even bigger.
And Austin Allen had 229 yards and 3 touchdowns. And Arkansas gets their first SEC win of this season, their 5th overall, and the 12th ranked team in the country takes the loss. Let's go down to the field to Holly.
Well, Austin, after the pounding you've taken in your last 2 losses, how different is Sunday morning going to feel to you after this win?
It's going to feel really good for us. That was a great opponent we just played, and I thought our guys really came out, flew around. All the credit in the world to our defense for making all those big stops and giving us the ball. And, that was a fun game right there.
Take me through the last drive that ended in a touchdown to Jared Cornelius. How did you guys keep your composure on that drive?
We work that every single week. Every Wednesday we work that. So we got a bunch of old guys in that huddle. So no one really gets too amped up out there. We're all just kind of keep a level head and made some big plays, and glad we came out on top.
Slant left formation here with Petway and Chandler leading the way, and he just bulldozes into the end zone. Can he escape? Allen lost the ball, and there's a fight for it. Marlon Davidson is in the middle of that. Auburn football. And now Truitt gets a carry. Former receiver turned running back, dives into the end zone. Here's Petway, another touchdown for Auburn. What a night for Bubba. Little smile out of Bo, a shake of the head. That kind of night, all too easy. On a night when Gus Malzahn's team ran for 544 yards against Arkansas. Their largest margin of victory over a ranked team. 56-3, they clobber 17th ranked Arkansas.
Luke Del Rio intercepted off a quick slant, picked off by Santos Ramirez. He's going to score. Ramirez into the end zone. Touchdown Arkansas. 21 yards on a tipped pass, and just like that, the Hogs are on the board.
From Gainesville come the 11th ranked Florida Gators to take on the hometown Razorbacks of Arkansas as SEC East meets West. The Hogs are back home, and here they come. They've won 8 straight following an SEC loss. They're a great November team under Brett Bielema.
He had a career high 26 carries in the win over Georgia last week. He flushes out of the backfield. So it's Del Rio all by his lonesome on first down and threw a strike, but it's in and out of the hands and intercepted. Santos Ramirez, touchdown.
Arkansas defense.
Santos Ramirez was the player that forced the fumble against Chad Kelly against Ole Miss to seal that game. He's got a knack for the football. He's a playmaker and a ball hawk. And this is just the old tip drill. Nice tight coverage that time. who felt like a run game was critical to their success today, and they've really got Florida on its heels.
They move from their own 9 to the 41. Allen wants to throw a screen, got it to Whaley. Whaley's got a blocker. He's got the sideline of the big fella. One more guy to beat. He's going to drag him down, but he's down to the 17-yard line. 42 yards. Riley Williams, the single setback. Drew Morgan is the motion man on 1st and goal. And it's Williams in the middle of the pack. Williams fights his way all the way. Touchdown, Arkansas. Riley Williams, 6th rushing touchdown of the year. That's a big setback for the Arkansas offense. Austin Allen trying to get some of it back, and he's got sprinkled down the sideline. He's got a lot of it back. All of it, almost, to the 34-yard line. He told us yesterday if he really had to go to somebody, it would be Drew Morgan, number 80, who's in the slot to the right. Allen fires, ends up Halligan, touchdown. When you're going to have a favorite guy in a favorite spot, and he threw it to a beautiful spot. Morgan's in the slot to the right. They are going to keep it on the ground. Riley Williams cuts it up, and there he goes. Williams is going to ice this thing. Touchdown, Arkansas.
I want you to be aggressive. I want you to come out fighting. I want you to come out and set the mentality who came to play. And the second thing, I want you all to play together. I thought we were going to have a lot of individual plays, but how we played together was going to define us. And today that was that. I think our offense responded. That last scoring touchdown was a play we probably ran that thing maybe 15 times today, you know, and our guys had some good success with it. We played traditionally very well in the last stretch, and I thought we would today.
And that is going to do it. The Hogs win their 6th. And they've beaten some good teams. Their 3 losses had come to teams that were in the college football ranking top 10. And they just picked off number 11 this afternoon, 31-10.
Again, Geisen for the banged up Fournette. And Geis getting the pitch, turning it upfield and into the end zone. Touchdown, LSU. That's the 8th rushing touchdown for Darius Geis this season. They're going to run the ball to Whaley on 2nd down. Cuts it upfield and is free. Shoves the defender out of bounds, and that'll get the crowd going. Adams, who's a big hitter. Allen going to throw it deep. Receiver there. It's caught inside the 5. He stayed in bounds. Touchdown, Dominique Reed. Boy, Tre'Davious White stopped. There is a penalty marker down. White stopped. I don't know that he realized that Reed ran past him. Wow.
3rd and forever. He slows down when the receiver slowed down. That's inexcusable in man coverage. It's 3rd and long.
Fournette on 2nd and goal, looking for his 3rd touchdown. He's got it. Great response by the Tigers after the turnover. "47-yard pass play. Can they score quickly?" Allen throws an interception. Picked off by Dwayne Thomas, who read the route better than the receiver. Well, you get a big play, and then you give it right back to the defense. Thomas with the pick. Allen throwing his 2nd interception of the night.
To get this team focused to win 3 in a row, you put everything into the Alabama game. You go toe-to-toe for 3.5 quarters, lose, and then you bounce back to beat Arkansas and win the boot. Go get it, kids. Well done. Final score from Fayetteville, 38-10. LSU throttles Arkansas.
He's across the 40 to midfield. There he goes. Raleigh all the way, 71 yards. Williams inside the 30. Williams is going to score, 42 yards for Raleigh. Raleigh at the 5, touchdown Arkansas. 4 touchdowns tonight for Raleigh Williams. This one for 33 yards.
Biggest crowd of the year in Starkville, Mississippi tonight for the 6-4 Arkansas Razorbacks and the 4-6 Mississippi State Bulldogs, needing to win their last 2 to make the postseason. There's Brett Bielema getting his Hogs ready to take the field here in enemy territory. His quarterback, Austin Allen, he's had an up and down season, so have the Hogs overall. 2nd down and 6 away from center. Allen again feeds Williams, and he breaks free. Midfield, he could go to the 30, 20. Goodbye, touchdown. Raleigh Williams with a 71-yard touchdown run on the opening series. Now Raleigh Williams slips free. 1st down, stiff arm. He could be gone again. To the 10. No one's going to get him. Touchdown, Raleigh Williams. His 2nd touchdown run, this one of 42 yards.
Give this guy a little bit of a seam, and he can do the rest. Great feet, and explodes through the hole. Already a big opening quarter for the 1,000-yard rusher, Raleigh Williams.
Now they need 7 yards on 3rd down to keep the drive alive. They get it with the quarterback's feet, and he got all the way to the end zone. What an inspiring 19-yard touchdown run for Nick Fitzgerald. His 2nd touchdown of the game. Williams, could he do it again? Yes, touchdown Arkansas. His 4th rushing touchdown of the half.
They're going to pull the center, they're going to pull the guard, block back, and just find a seam and get out in the open. See the center get up on the 2nd level on Richie Brown, and then it's Raleigh Williams.
2nd and 13 from the 29. Austin Allen sets, throws, wide open man. Jeremy Sprinkle, 1st down, goal to go near the 5. 4th down and goal from the 1. Pop pass from Williams. He's done everything tonight. Austin Cantrell. Touchdown, Arkansas. How about that play call? Arkansas's offensive coordinator, Dan Enos, saying, hey, Raleigh Williams has scored 4 touchdowns for me. Passing touchdown 2. And finally, Brett Bielema beats Mississippi State. The first time since Bielema took over as head coach in Fayetteville. That snaps a 4-game losing streak, too, for the Hawks. 58-42, the final. Arkansas. It's win number 7, and bowl hopes for Mississippi State go out the window.
11th play of the drive for Arkansas.
Big opening for Whaley. Whaley, did he get there? Touchdown. Razorbacks. Got to the pylon in midair.
30-yard touchdown run.
30-yard touchdown run for Whaley, the freshman.
But Froholt come around, number 51, the left guard. Ragnow gets his guy pinned back, followed him, big 51 into the end zone. Easy that time. Kendrick Jackson got a great block as well.
They will keep it on the ground. Riley Williams.
Back run. Riley Williams still going. Down inside the 10. It'll be first and goal, Arkansas.
Sprinkle, the tight end, will come left to right now. Two tight ends set.
Unbalanced again. Skipper's eligible.
Lawson got his tight end. Touchdown. Austin Cantrell. One Austin to the other. And the Razorbacks score again.
He's got his main threat, deep threat, down to the bottom of the screen. That's Moore, and that's where he is going. No, he's got it. It's Johnson. And he's gone. Touchdown, Missouri.
Jonathan Johnson, 67-yard score.
And using a lot of time here. Down to 4 on the play clock. Strong, straight up the middle.
He's in. Touchdown. Missouri's in front.
1-yard touchdown run.
To the left side of Austin Allen. Allen pressured, steps up, fires, and it's intercepted in the end zone by Patton. Last chance for Arkansas. Allen, here comes the heat again, and down he goes.
Oh, another one of those throws. This time it doesn't work for Arkansas.
And Missouri is going to win it. What a comeback. Nice job, Coach. You fired your Tigers up in the locker room at halftime, and they came out and played brilliantly in the second half, and they win it. Disappointing loss for Brett Bielema in Arkansas. They fall to 7-5. The Tigers go to 4-8.
Welcome to the Belk Bowl as part of Capital One Bowl Mania. It's the Arkansas Razorbacks from the SEC meeting with the number 22 Virginia Tech Hokies from the ACC. Evans steps up, floats one down the sideline, and I mean floats, and it's picked off. Ryan Pulley on the return. Pulley chased out of bounds, but not before he got into Virginia Tech territory.
How much do these guys really want to keep putting their hand in the ground and playing?
Allen with time. It's a post and wide open for the touchdown. Cheyenne O'Grady makes his second catch of the entire season. He was about as open as you're ever going to get. Allen, nice fake to Williams, sets his feet and throws complete inside the 10. What a play. Perfect throw, and Hatcher held on even though he was drilled by Alexander. Allen throws off his left foot to the 1, inside the 1. Beautiful throw to Hatcher.
Allen,
like a shortstop off the wrong foot, and he rifled this
He's
thing.
having a nice ball game, isn't he? Great job getting his shoulders turned. It was short. It was short. By that quick view right there, that was a terrific call.
His feet were in the end zone, but I don't think the ball was.
I don't think the ball was either. From that angle there, it's tough to tell because of the angle back across. But it was this angle here.
No, I think it's a touchdown now when you stop it.
After the receiver completed the process of the catch, the ball was beyond the goal line. It's a touchdown.
Allen with a play fake, dumps it underneath, it's intercepted. It went through the hands of Austin Cantrell right to Tremaine Edmonds. Holy cow.
If you're just joining us, Virginia Tech was getting blown out of the building in the first half. They were down 24-0, and it didn't even look that close. And all of a sudden, the Bud Foster defense, which if you've followed Virginia Tech for any length of time, you know this is something they do well.
Arkansas has turned it over 3 times in 11 snaps. Evans for the end zone. Touchdown! Chris Cunningham, the tight end, the redshirt freshman.
And another tough catch in the end zone.
McMillan again. Shakes the tackle. Touchdown. Are you kidding?
It's almost hard to explain how rough a year Arkansas has had in the second half. It's really, it's shocking. And we've showed the point differential, but it was
getting worse
quickly. But it was 24-0.
That'll do it. Quite a performance by Virginia Tech on both sides of the ball, being down 24-0. A lot of people could have mailed it in after that, but they did not.
Disappointed. I'd go as far as angry after the bowl game. We knew that wasn't who we were, yet at the same time, it was, because it's exactly what happened.
We let a lot of people down, and guys really took that to heart.
We kind of just left a chip on our shoulder where, we came into the offseason not satisfied at all.
It was a team that quickly focused their eyes on 2017.
Our guys are extremely humbled. They're extremely hungry.
We're tired of losing, especially the way we did end of the season.
Going to a bowl game is not good enough. Winning 7 games, 8 games isn't good enough.
We can do more. We can do better.
We tired of being mediocre. It's time to get consistent. It's time to hold each other accountable.
All the guys have bought in.
We had the talent to compete for SEC title. It's just a matter of putting it all together.
SEC Network Studios, Peter Burns, Chris Doring. A lot of great players here in the conference, but let's build the ultimate depth chart for this season, starting at QB. The man is on the board. That'd be Arkansas quarterback Austin Allen. Why'd you pick him?
It was a tough choice. First, you had to decide what the criteria was. You got guys that are dual threat guys. You got guys that can run the football. As a former receiver, I'm looking for a guy that can throw the ball down the field. Austin Allen did that extremely well last year. 25 touchdowns, 15 interceptions, but poor protection from the Hogs last year made it difficult. Still, high completion percentage at 61%.
Everyone's talking about this is the year of the quarterback, and you chose the head hog. Very interesting. What wide receivers do you have to go along with them on the SEC Ultimate Depth Chart for 2017?
This is a treat because we got a couple good ones here, right?
Okay, yeah.